One of the biggest selling points of electric vehicles is less maintenance. And you'll often hear owners saying, because there's fewer moving parts, there's less to work on, less to go wrong, no oil changes, no belts, all that good stuff. But what's it actually like in practice? We're almost to 130,000 miles on our Tesla Model Y that we purchased in 2021, and we've only had 4 service visits since buying it new. I'll share these invoices here. The first 3 are pretty simple, but the 4th one was a little more elaborate as we had just passed 100,000 miles. So I'll take you through all that and all the costs, and we'll see where we wind up. Let's take a look at visit number 1. This was about 5 days after delivery. The Y was delivered to our home near dusk, so it wasn't until the next morning that I discovered a little spot of green paint or primer between a couple rear panels. Turns out this was just a dab of some marker they use in the factory. Although I'd tried to gently remove it, I didn't want to use too much pressure in case it was a chip of some kind. The service team was able to easily wipe it away. Then I had another question about the coating in the frunk, but that turned out to be normal, so I left the service center after about a half hour at no cost other than some time. Not too bad. Let's take a look at visit number 2. This was August of 21, and we'd already put almost 13,000 miles on it in 5 months. In that time, we'd done an incredible road trip through North Dakota, Montana, Wyoming, Colorado, Nebraska, and Iowa, and back to Minnesota. All in a handy playlist, by the way. Along the way, we had some tire issues and a couple substantial cracks in the windshield, all things that can happen in any car, but still that windshield needed replacing. So the second visit was that replacement. They also checked the tires and reclipped an interior trim piece that had come loose, both at no cost. I'm not sure what happened with that trim piece. It may have been something defective, but I can't rule out that my daughter may have kicked it or had been prying at it or something without my noticing. However, since it's been reseated, I haven't seen it come loose again. Although that was free, we did have to pay for our overall visit for that windshield, and that was $1,292.52, but we were reimbursed by insurance, so again, ultimately no cost to us, but some time. Let's head back for visit number 3. A year and a half later, in April of 23, the driver's side repeater camera had been flaky for a few weeks and then died completely. So for the first time, this service was for a Tesla-specific reason, and still nothing regarding it being an EV, just the camera system. I'd waited a little while to get this fixed just to see if it was a software issue, and after the next update, I made the service visit after it wasn't corrected. But that morning, they gave me a loaner. By the time I drove to the grocery store and my house, they were done, and I drove right back to pick it up. They also did another tire check and a warranty firmware update at no cost. So my first service bill after 2 years of ownership and almost 60,000 miles was $175.26. And now, just past 100,000 miles, we're going to take care of some things that I've been meaning to get to. So let's take a look at visit number 4. This was the big one, so I'll take a little more time to walk through this invoice. And another year and a half had passed, and we'd just passed 100,000 miles. I wanted to make sure we took care of any routine maintenance, but it was also a good milestone to repair some self-inflicted wounds on the Y. The last 40,000 miles had been a little rough. One night while driving home through southern Minnesota, I struck a raccoon. Miraculously, my Quick Bandit license plate holder took the brunt of the impact and sheared off without damaging the grill. Miraculous for me, but unfortunately not for the raccoon. If you're interested in the Quick Bandit license plate holder, I'm putting Jim, the Iowa Tesla guy's referral code up there. I bought a second one to replace that. I've been happy with them. They're easy to put on and take off, but this isn't sponsored, just something I thought I'd mention for anyone curious. After that raccoon strike, I stopped in the next town and found some sagging, displaced plastic trim below the bumper. I was able to tuck it back together enough to get home and eventually taped it up after the wind caused it to sag quite a bit more. But after taping it up, I kind of forgot about it in the busyness of life. It didn't look great, but most of the time I could ignore it. Now, a smart person would have filed an insurance claim and made a service appointment the next morning. But no one's ever accused me of being smart. So it sat that way for at least a year, through a couple of road trips and a winter, the usual. Well, all along in the back of my mind, I was dreading how much it would cost or what important thing may have also been damaged underneath. But at 100,000 miles, it was time for a clean slate. Another outstanding item was the seat release in the passenger side rear seat. It's where my daughter sits, and she used to compulsively pull the release switch, and I'd constantly be hearing the vip-pew, vip-pew, vip-pew of the seat. Super annoying and out of reach while I was driving. She liked that it pushed her forward and she could slam the seat back up in place, but one day after thousands and thousands of pulls, it stopped releasing. The seat was stuck, always up, but it was safe, and eventually she got sick of pulling the switch that didn't do anything but make noise. So like the front trim, I didn't do anything about it for a long time, but this was on purpose, so the bad habit wouldn't start again, and I figured she'd just burn out another one if I had it replaced. But again, we wanted that clean slate at 100,000 miles, and we'd even had discussions of selling the Y at that point, and we'd need to have these issues addressed if that happened. Those were the big ticket items, but it was also time to hit some of those routine service things as well. They checked and lubed the brakes and fluid level. These are, of course, still the original brakes. Replaced the air filter, which was also the original, so I'm sure that was super nasty. Checked and rotated the tires, and that was mostly it. I'd mentioned an occasional rattle from the front passenger seat, but they weren't able to replicate it. They checked it out, but nothing was done, so no charge. It still occurs on some roads, but it isn't a major issue. One lingering thing from the visit was a front bumper replacement. They didn't have a color-matched bumper in stock, so they set up a follow-up appointment for that step. But after looking it over and cleaning off the tape residue, it seemed fine to me, so I followed up on the app to see if the replacement was a structural safety need or just cosmetic. When we bought the car, I'd had a full PPF wrap put on, so if the bumper needed to be swapped, I'd also have the cost of that rewrap. Luckily, it was only a cosmetic fix, so I canceled that appointment and saved a lot of money there. Now, almost a year and a half after that visit, 5 years of ownership, and almost 130,000 miles, our total service cost has been from visit 1, $0, that paint check. Visit 2 was the windshield replacement at $1,292.52, which ultimately insurance paid for. $175.26 at visit 3 with the repeater camera replacement, and $1,749.88 for the 100,000 miles service and repairs. So our 5-year service total has been $3,217.66. Because of that insurance paying for the windshield, we only paid $1,925.14. So that was our service total, but we also had consumables like tires and washer fluid. Obviously, washer fluid's not much of anything, but I wanted to include it for transparency's sake. The tires, I'm putting in a number here of 2,200. That's 2 sets of tires over the life of our vehicle so far, and I've only found one receipt. That was our last set, and that was just under $1,000. But I think the first set we had replaced in an emergency situation in North Dakota was a little more expensive. I think that with tax ended up being around $1,200. So I feel like this number is pretty accurate, even though I kind of rounded it. And if you saw my last video, we're now planning a big trip to the Grand Canyon this spring. And I imagine after that trip, we'll probably have to get another set of tires, but by then we'll probably be closer to 150,000 miles or more. Again, washer fluid here is a round number. We've put some in over the last 5 years, same as you'd do in any vehicle. So if we look at our total over the last 5 years for consumables and our service total, we get $5,517.66, and we paid only $4,225.14. Again, because of that windshield being covered. So let's take that full number, that $5,517.66 number, and let's remove some of the things that were either self-inflicted or paid for by insurance. So that's the $1,292.52 for the windshield, $929.16 for the bumper, and $340.40 for the rear seat fix. That gives us a total of $2,562.08. And if we take that out of our main total, that gives us $2,955.58 of typical maintenance and tires if you don't hit raccoons, have insurance pay for your windshield, and don't have someone trying to release your rear seat thousands and thousands of times. So for typical people without an accident or anything, you're probably going to be around $2,955.58 for 5 years of ownership. But to me, that's still a big number and feels like EVs must be kind of expensive. But If we take out tires, which you'd have to do on any vehicle, our 5-year typical total for just maintenance would be $755.58. That's an average of $151.12 per year, which when broken out like that, seems like a pretty good deal. Especially when you remember there are no oil changes, no belts, no tanks, no fuel pumps, nothing really to go wrong. So EVs have a pretty big advantage there. And what about Tesla-specific things compared to other EVs? Well, only that camera failure was Tesla-specific. So that was $175.26 were because it was a Tesla, and a lot of other cars now have cameras too. So arguably, that could happen on a lot of other models now too. I want to take one more quick minute to talk about the communication with the service departments, and all that's done through the app, unless you're physically there. And although that took a little getting used to in Tesla ownership, really that 100,000-mile service visit was pretty slick, going back and forth, being able to ask questions and get details on that bumper that wasn't in stock that they'd need to make a separate appointment for, and then being able to ask if that was necessary, what other things might be coming up. All of that was done right through the app. And like I said, once you get used to that system, it's pretty slick. You can send them photos or anything. And I think in all of these cases, the estimates I got through the app from the service department were either exactly to the penny what they had estimated or lower in the final bill than what they'd estimated. So I'm pretty happy with that. There were some changes up when I added items, or once they opened the front bumper up and they realized a couple extra parts had to be added, but that kind of thing you know is going to come. And generally, I've been very happy with the totals, even though no one likes paying for service. In fact, both the camera issue and the bumper issue, I spent a lot of time thinking that this was going to be way too expensive to get fixed. Tried doing some additional quick fixes at home, seeing if it was something I could just take care of, and wasted time and money, scratched up my arms. And then when I got those final bills, I felt really stupid for wasting my time and energy trying to do it myself. Turns out I'm not a professional car maintenance specialist. Well, what do you think? Did that meet your expectations? Let me know down below. Let me know if you have any other questions, and I'll do my best to answer them. Thanks for watching. Have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Happy road tripping.